Good afternoon, warriors. How are you guys all doing today? It's Zachattack, and in this video, I am doing a Pokemon tag courtesy of the booktuber Super Space Chick. Kristen is a huge bookworm that is constantly putting out videos about what she's planning to read, what book events she's going to in New York. This tag seemed like the perfect opportunity to express my love for Pokemon, which isn't something a lot of mid-20s people express a lot. That is the message that I am spreading here on this channel, that if you love something with all of your being and you are passionate about that, do not hide it. Do not let others bring you down because you love it. Express it to the world, because you have no idea who in the world you can make an amazing connection with when you do that. But enough rambling about what I do on the channel overall. Today we are talking about Pokemon, so let's dive into these 28 questions. What is your favorite Pokemon type? Although I'm a really big fan of fire Pokemon, my favorite type is actually Ghost. Their attacks can be pretty darn powerful. Plus, although the majority of them are special attacks, there are some very strong physical attacks that can nearly one-shot an opponent. Unless, of course, they're normal or fighting type, because Ghost doesn't work on those, but how often are you going to come across those in the wild? What is your favorite Pokemon region? For me, it's got to be Kanto. Pallet Town is where this entire journey began for me, back with Pokemon Red and Blue. And the original 151 Pokemon are locked into a specific section in my heart. Charmander, Bulbasaur, Pikachu, and Squirtle are the 4 starters that started this entire passion that I have for Pokemon, and I don't know how it could be any other way. I will give an honorable mention to the Hoenn region. It's very expansive, what with the increased ocean space and the secret base aspect, little mini game within Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire is a lot of fun to track down as many as you can and fight Pokemon trainers within those secret bases. Which Pokemon games do you have? Currently, in the physical game cartridge form, I have Pokemon X and Pokemon Omega Ruby, even though that second one is broken, which means I've lost all of my legendaries, my Darkrai, my Celebi, my Shaman, my Genesect, my Arceus. From the Nintendo 3DS eShop, I have Pokemon Red and Pokemon Silver that I'm still kind of working through. I want to do a Pokemon Nuzlocke on Twitch for Silver, but I'm having a little difficulty figuring out the proper setup, so that's gonna be on hold for a bit longer. And I also have the demo for Detective Pikachu, which is a game that I never thought I was going to play, but since my 3DS did allow me to download a free demo, I figured I'd get some game footage and maybe do a giveaway for you guys, since I do have a special little something that some of you might be interested in. And then there are the games that I did have physical copies for, but I sold shortly after finishing them like a fool. Pokemon Soul Silver and Pokemon White. I just needed money. I was hurting. I had finished the games except for catching one Pokemon in Soul Silver that would allow me to get the Trainer Star for completing the Pokedex, save for some legendaries. I couldn't get them, so I just left it. Like a fool. In the games, what gender do you normally play as? I am consistently choosing the male version. I feel that the male Pokemon trainer is the closest aspect I can get to my natural self. I normally have a bunch of aliases already in my head for guy names. There's Scott, Philip, Clyde. I think I went with Roger one time. Do you watch the anime? I used to when I was younger, and even then I just remember reaching the end of the Johto region. I don't have any recollection of watching anything from Hoenn, Sinnoh, And by that time, I was getting into my teen years, so I wouldn't be watching the anime at that point. I did, however, watch the movies from time to time, the most recent actually being Pokemon I Choose You, that was in select theaters for a limited 2 days. Garrison, Jenna, and I are all very big Pokemon fans, and we were deep into Pokemon Go at the time, so it just made sense. How many seen in your Pokedex of your latest game? I only have 50. I started Pokemon Red a while back, but life got busy and I had to prioritize. Pokemon Red took a back shelf, and I tried to kind of add an element of a Nuzlocke, not catching every Pokemon that I saw. I would really like to get back to it because Pokemon Red, as I said a little earlier, that's where I started, and that's where I want to get back to. In that game, how many owned in the Pokedex? 18? I know, it should be more, like 50 to 18, and the original 151 is my favorite. I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna be a better trainer, but also I don't want to just leave some of my catches on the wayside. I want to grow them all up to an equal level as I'm progressing throughout the game. Do you even like Pokemon? Watch my Pokemon 20th anniversary video and then come back and ask me that. Do you collect the trading cards? I used to collect a lot of them when I was younger. Like, I had a stack probably yay big, that big, but I gave them all to my girlfriend at the time because I just didn't have anything to do with them. And I sold my rares like a fool. I try not to remember those days because it hurts every time I think about letting go of my hologram foil Charizard and Raichu and Machamp. It just hurts. If you have the trading cards, did you play the game or just collect? I tried playing the game properly a handful of times, but I could never get the hang of it. When I did really start actually trying to play the game, that was when I was getting into Magic the Gathering, and once you get into that, well, everything else just kind of fails in comparison. Do you ever draw Pokemon? I did actually try that one time for a YouTuber that I met out at VidCon 2015, and it turned out to be a pretty subpar drawing. It was actually worth nearly getting scared half to death a few minutes beforehand.
Oh my gosh, are you vlogging? Oh my goodness!
Holy Katie, do not do
Hello!
What is your favorite Pokemon? Dragonite. He is adorable from his first evolution to his last. He will always be there for you, and he is powerful as heck. He can practically learn any type of move that will dominate your competition. What is your second favorite? It's actually Eevee. You can breed it as many times as you want to so that you can have all 7 or 8 evolutions, and they make for really good cosplays. Like my friend Mandy, or Leap Mando on Instagram and Facebook, made an amazing Vaporeon Mage cosplay a while back, crossing it over with Dungeons & Dragons. What is your favorite legendary? Entei is definitely up there on my list because of the third movie in the Pokemon movie installments, Spell of the Unknown. What is your second favorite? That slot goes to Mew. It is super elusive, so hard to catch throughout the Pokemon games, unless of course you go to a GameStop when they're having a giveaway event. I did actually catch Mew in my Pokemon Red game, thanks to a glitch tutorial I found on YouTube on how to capture it, but unfortunately I had to restart my Red version. That disallowed me to get Mew again in the future, so had the opportunity, lost it, will probably never have it again. Do you know what number 493 is in the National Dex? My brain wants to say Rhyperior. I don't know why. It needs to be further in like 4th, 5th generation. Does the national dex change from game to game? Let me know down in the comments if you know anything about that. Would you rather have a Meowth or a Growlithe? I would 100% take a Growlithe. It starts out as an adorable fire-breathing pup and then becomes this epic legendary canine protector. The only way the cat would be a contender for me is if it was one of the talking versions so that we could share puns back and forth. But then again, if it talks, then I'm gonna have a really hard time getting it to shut its meow. Do you have any relatives who play Pokemon? As far as I know, my cousin Justine is the only other one in our family who is invested in the Pokemon universe. We are 100% the nerds of the family, and it's been a really long time since I've seen her, hung out with her. I really hope that someday soon I'll be able to go over to Newfoundland and we can hang out, or she can come over to the Maritimes for some special event possibly happening in August 2019, but we'll have to see how that goes. How often do you talk about Pokemon? I'd say it's a fairly healthy amount. It's not all that I talk about, but if people want to have a conversation about it or spout Poke puns back and forth, then I'm totally down for that. Do you hide the fact that you like Pokemon from your real life friends? Heck no, Techno. I would be going completely against the message that I'm trying to spread on YouTube about embracing what you're truly passionate about and expressing that to the world regardless of whether they approve it or not. What pets do you have that resemble Pokemon? My parents and I have 2 West Highland Terriers that I feel strongly resemble Lillipup from Gen 5, and our cat Sophie, who is a Bengal. I'd say she looks a lot like Leopard. It is practically an exact copy of Sophie's fur pattern and probably even her personality. Like, she's snarky. What Pokemon do you hate the most? Garbodor in Gen 5. It is literally trash. A huge pile of garbage. This is the point when you knew the developers were running out of ideas. But then Gen 6 came along, and that's actually a really good generation. How is that even possible? Which evolution do you like the most? I think it might be a tie between Umbreon and Glaceon. Sure, Umbreon would make a really awesome D&D crossplay, but Glaceon is a good ice type, and those are few and far between. I'm still gonna stick with Umbreon because Umbreon Rogue would be so cool. Plus, you know, powerful attacks and really nice design. Which cast form is the best? I'm gonna vote the Sunny Day form. It turns cast form into a fire type, which I personally enjoy, and it allows for a 1-turn solar beam. Like, that is such a powerful move, and I'm pretty sure cast form can learn it. If you're up against a water type, use Sunny Day, you get that resistance to water types, and you have a 1-turn grass move that will obliterate the competition. Which Deoxys form is the best? I'm gonna go speed for this one. Deoxys is already really powerful on its own, so if you up the speed stats, then the rest of the stats are just naturally dominating. Articuno, Zapdos, or Moltres? I'm gonna go with Articuno for this one. I catch a lot of fire and electric types as I'm going about wild grass throughout the regions, but ice types are normally central to mountain regions, which don't seem to be too prevalent in the games. If I can get an ice Pokemon outside of the mountains, then I think we're in for a good time. Lugia or Ho-Oh? I'm definitely gonna have to say Lugia because of Pokemon 2000, The Power of One. It helps to have a really good water psychic Pokemon on your team, since I don't think that's a very popular combination in the Pokemon world. Which 2 people will you tag? I'm gonna tag Sammy Cake. She's a gaming YouTuber, but does do a Vlognensday, or at least she did from time to time each week. And Katie Wilson, she is a massive Pokemon fan. She's been really busy going to movie premieres, Comic-Con, special events, and just relaxing at home with her dog. I highly suggest checking out both of their channels. They are awesome women on YouTube, and if you're into fantasy, Dungeons and Dragons, Pokemon, video games, those two are definitely into all of those things. That is it. 28 questions all about the Pokemon universe, the types, the regions, the favorites, the legendaries, the cards, and a tiny little bit of my experience with all of those. My question for you guys, if you had to play one Pokemon game out of all of them, the core series and the spin-offs like Pokken Tournament or Detective Pikachu, if you had to play that for 1 week, what would it be and why? Let me know your answers down in the comments. I would love to hear which games are your choices. But anyway, guys, that is all I have for today's video. Thank you so much for joining me. If you guys did enjoy this video, please be sure to hit the like button and share this with your friends and family to help me grow this army of people who believe that embracing and expressing what you are truly passionate about is so important. As always, guys, don't be afraid or discouraged by others to embrace what you are truly passionate about, because you have no idea who in the Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, Unova, Kalos, or Alola regions you can make an amazing connection with. Wow, I'm out of breath. Swimming. Could have kept them for my kids. Do something with them that wasn't tossing them away.